song one more. So, welcome to the Mentors Show. Welcome, 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 welcome. How has your day been? I was wondering. You are who you are. Yesterday, today and forevermore. What you say is what you do. You never fail, you never give. So welcome to our audience on, of course, on Instagram, and welcome to our audience on Facebook at the Africa Coaching and Mentorship YouTube channel. Welcome our audience on Facebook at Olushola Ajide, and welcome to our audience on LinkedIn at Dr. Olushola Ajide. Yes, it's another night of the Mentors Show. It's another night of the Mentors Show. It's another night of the Mentors Show. So we are live tonight on the Mentors Show. So let us know where you are joining us from. If you are on Facebook, let us know which country you are joining us from. If you are on YouTube, let's know which country you are joining us from. If you are on LinkedIn, let us know which country you are joining us from. And of course, for those of you on Instagram, welcome. Tell us where you are joining us from. So is the Mentor Show tonight. Is the Mentor Show. You know, every Tuesday we come your way. Okay, roll the tape. Let's have our intro. Let's have our intro. Yep. Our intro. We are ready to go.
Welcome. I'm Dr. Olushola Ajide, your host on the Mental Show, where we inspire you, help you reinvent yourself, and to make a positive impact in your community, in your country, and on your continent. We mentor people across Africa. We bring you guests with inspiring life stories who are themselves transformation agents, making a positive change in their profession and nations. Subscribe to the African Coaching and Mentorship Initiative YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Yes, follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on YouTube. And of course, follow me on LinkedIn. Yes, welcome to the Mentors Show. Tonight, we continue to press looking at mapping Africa's natural resources. So let me share my screen. So that's what we are looking at today, mapping Africa's natural resources. And you know, we've been on this journey of mapping Africa's natural resources for a very long while now, and intentionally this particular year we've had more of looking. It's as if there's shortage of time. We have consistently been looking at Africa's natural resources. We've not had, like we normally do, guests to be brought on the show, but very soon we're going to get into that again. We just felt that there's a critical need to put the spotlight, to put the focus on Africa. and for us to quickly finish up, race down to all the nations in the continent of Africa. You know that when we started in this journey of looking at Africa, it's been years now. This actually is the fourth season. In other words, is the fourth year of the Africa Coaching and Mentorship YouTube. Africa Coaching and Mentorship all together. And of course, this mentor show is 4 years. Apologies, that's not right. The Africa Coaching and Mentorship YouTube as an initiative is more than 4 years. But the mentor show actually is 4 years plus. We started on the 15th of May 2020. Yes, at the heat of COVID. That was when we started the Mentors Show. And we've been on it, having guests who are bringing inspiration. And in between that, we have this other, if you like, other dimension or other service, which is what we call mapping Africa's natural resources. And like you know, Africa has 54 nations. It was 54 nations before South Sudan gained independence. So, and in that 54, we have gone we are now on nation 42. We've gone through, and we've been going more in an alphabetical order. And today we are, like you can see on the screen, we are focusing on nation number 42. So the rundown to this nation 42 was from 38. We had Nigeria in 38, nation 38. We had Rwanda in 39. We had Sao Tome and Principe in 40. And we had Senegal on the 6th of this month at 41. And today we have Seychelles, like you can see on the screen. Excuse me. Like you can see on the screen. So we are focusing on Seychelles today. Welcome for those of you who are with us again on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter. No, not yet on Twitter. We used to, but we're no more on Twitter. We're not broadcasting again to Twitter. For those of you on LinkedIn, those of you on Facebook, and those of you on YouTube. And so welcome. So we are focusing on Seychelles today, looking at mapping the natural resources. What are the natural resources available in Seychelles? And let me again bring you to speed on why we are looking at Africa's natural resources. First and foremost, before I tell you why, one of the questions I normally ask in this session when we have this Africa, when we look at mapping Africa's natural resources, is the question: have you discovered the reason why you exist? Have you found out the reason why you were born? Have you discovered the reason why you are living? This question is extremely important. Extremely important because as we look at all the seemingly challenges in each of these nations, as we are mapping the natural resources, we say that each one of you, if you're on this call tonight or you're watching a replay of this session, you are the solution to the problem on the continent of Africa. And it's important for you to discover the problem you were born to solve. It's important for you to discover the problem you were born to solve. This is extremely important. If you don't discover the problem you were born to solve, I dare argue that you will not live a fulfilled life. And I'm very sorry if that comes too blunt or too frank, as it were. Because it is when you discover the purpose why you are living and you begin to fulfill that purpose, then you begin to live. Then you begin to be alive. Then you begin to, fulfill the intention and the desire of the Creator that has put you on the surface of the earth. So this is extremely, extremely important. And why we are mapping Africa's natural resources is because it provides an opportunity of education. Because for us, for me as a person, one of the purpose of my existence is to tackle ignorance. Is to tackle ignorance. Is to attack ignorance headlong. So this particular show, this particular program provides an opportunity for people to get to know more about the African continent and to get to know more about the nations on the continent of Africa, because some people always think, when they hear Africa, they think Africa is just one nation, like they just think Africa is just one country. They don't know that Africa actually is made up of now 55 countries, independent countries. They are not in any. Thank you, Danny Buckley. Thank you so much on LinkedIn. Thank you. Tell us where you are joining us from. Let us know where you are joining us from. Thank you. So the people don't know that Africa is made up of more than 54 nations. Africa is made up of 55 rather, apologies, 55 nations. And that's why, like I told you, the purpose and the reason for my own existence is to tackle ignorance. And thereby, in tackling ignorance, also help to bring to the fore the opportunities that are there. So, enough of intro. I've spent so long a time in giving you an intro. Let's go straight into what we have for today. Let's go straight on into looking at Seychelles. Don't forget, that's what we're looking at today. Let me remind you, you could see the banner over there. We are looking at Seychelles. We are looking at Seychelles. That is what we are looking at today. We are looking at what are the natural resources that are available in the country of Seychelles. That is what we are looking at today. And this is nation 42. So we are looking at Seychelles today. Oh, apologies. So we are looking at Seychelles today. All right. So let's have a deep dive. Seychelles is a country in Africa. Seychelles is a country in Africa. And this particular country, Seychelles, came out from from the French colonization. In fact, the name Seychelles was one of the name the name of the former finance minister of France that got appended on this country called Seychelles. And Seychelles is called Seychelles Creole. It's an island country. It's an archipelago state consisting of 115 islands as per the constitution in the Indian Ocean. The location of Seychelles is in the Indian Ocean. When we talk about the Indian Ocean, we're talking about the other parts of Africa, the other side of Africa. That is where you have Madagascar, Mauritius, those side that leads up to India, and that's why it's called Indian Ocean, because the closest proximity in that ocean is India. So is that just closer by there in the Indian Ocean. Its capital, and which is the largest city, is called Victoria. Its capital, largest city, is called Victoria, which is about 1,500 kilometers, about 800 nautical miles east of mainland Africa. The nearby islands to this country includes Comoros, Madagascar, Mauritius, and the French Overseas Department of Mayotte and Reunion to the south, and the Chagos Archipelago, which is administered by United Kingdom as the British Indian Ocean Territory, and also the Maldives to the east. So Seychelles is the smallest country in Africa, as well as the least populated sovereign African country, with an estimated population of about 100,000 people. So Seychelles population is roughly 100,000. And in this particular country of Seychelles, the official language in Seychelles is English, French, and of course the Seychellese Creole. So because this country was colonized by the French and also colonized by Britain, so English and French are official languages, and of course the Seychellese Creole. The ethnics, they are called Seychellese Creoles and others. The religion, 74.9% are Christians in this particular nation, are Christians. 5.4% are Hinduism. 2.4 is from Islam, Muslims. 5.1 others. 12.2% unanswered. They don't have any particular religion, so to speak, in this particular nation. All right. So the synonyms, they call them Seychellese or Seychellese or Seychelles Creole. So we have a unitary government of a president. The current president is Wavel Ramkalawan. Vice president is Ahmed Afif. They got an independence on the 29th of June 1976. They got their independence on 29th of June 1976. The total area of the country is 457 square kilometers. Now the population based on is now in 2024 estimate is 120,581 people. That's making it the 200th most nation on earth. The density is 262.3 kilometers per square meter. The GDP of this country is, the total GDP is $4.175 billion, which is 177th in the world. The per capita income is 41,828, making it the 49th, which is very high. This country is one of those countries that is very small, but the GDP is quite high based on their export. I'm going to get to that very soon. So the currency is the Seychelles rupee. That's what they do. And the time zone is UTC plus 4. UTC plus 4. It's a very interesting nation because this nation also, even though it's in that area, is part of seems to do a lot of business with the European nation, the European Union, more than does a lot of interaction, a lot of relationship with European Union, more than even African nations. So that's what this country, Seychelles, uh, is. And is one of those nations that they do not have any indigenous people on ground by the time the colonialists, so to speak, came to this particular nation. So it's one of those nations that we didn't have locals, if you like to use that terminology. We don't have people residing on the island by the time they were being colonized. So some of the areas, let me give you the information regarding some of the areas before we go do our deep dive. We have Anse au Spray en Pile, Anse Beaulieu, Anse Étoile, Oka, Anse Real, Bel-Lazare, Bill Vallon, Belle Ombre, Cascade, Glacis, Grand Anse Mahe, Point La Rue, Port Groud, and Takamaka. Yeah. So when it comes to this particular nation, economy-wise, the economy of the nation of Seychelles, when it comes to the economy of this nation, is quite a vibrant economy, considering the fact that a lot of foreigners dwell and come to the country. In fact, it is said that most of the celebrities in Hollywood and all those things, they like they camp here because of the area that this nation is. So Seychelles is a place whereby most rich people and celebrities, so to speak, stay on because of the scenic view of the nation, the white sands, the white beaches, and the transparent, transparent waters, transparent, oceans that you can see in this particular nation. So according to the trading economics, Seychelles GDP, like I've told about that, is in $1 billion. So the natural resource of this country is purely based on tourism and fishing. Tourism and fishing. Other things that the economy depends on is on processing coconuts, vanilla, koaropi, boat building, printing, furniture, and beverages. So that's all. So they don't have oil, they don't have gold or any of those natural resources, but what they have is they do have a lot of tourists come to because of the environment, the aesthetic and the beautiful environment make people to come to Seychelles as a country. So but the challenge with that is that this country is said to be quite very expensive because of the influx of foreign currency. You know how it is when there's an influx of foreign currency, it affects the local economy and pushes up the value of what is being sold. And that's the reason why Seychelles have those kind of a high, it is thought to be one of those high places, to live. Yeah, it's one of those high places, high cost. Well, I mean high, I mean cost of living in Seychelles is quite expensive based on the value of what the nations are, and all depending only on tourism. It's quite amazing, isn't it? It's quite amazing. Now, this particular nation, when it comes to I mentioned earlier, when it comes to the agriculture of this nation of Seychelles, in this country, they depend, like I told you, they depend largely on tourism and the fish that they also get from the water. So, and this particular agricultural wise, so their dependence on the marine and also on the fruit that they work on. Coconut is a major thing for them in Seychelles. Coconut, cinnamon, and tea. Cinnamon, coconut, and tea. And of course, livestock are things that is predicated. The economy is the economy is dependent upon. So you could see that a nation is so small, the population about 100,000 plus, and they don't have so-called natural resources, but they are still thriving. Economic-wise, they are thriving far, far better than some of African nations that are big and massive when it comes to size and when it comes to population. So this nation of Seychelles, when it comes to health in this nation, when it comes to health, so Seychelles has reached the epidemiological shift from communicable to non-communicable disease. Most communicable and infectious diseases have been controlled or eradicated. That's a good achievement. In 2014, the World Health Organization reported that the country was on target to achieve the Millennium Development Goals. So you see, the health system is working in the right direction. And a lot of campaign also in the nation to beware of oral cancer. To beware of oral cancer. Now, when it comes to the health and the life expectancy in this nation of Seychelles, the life expectancy for those in Seychelles is 73.40. This is as of 2021, So it would have increased more than this. So hopefully now maybe it will have lived, be much more than that. I forgot to mention to you real name is also King. He said it's possible to relocate. Well, if you are led, if you think you are led, because there are issues, if it's quite expensive, you must definitely, for you to relocate to the country of Seychelles, you must definitely have good job that will be able to meet the economy of the nation. So you cannot just say because a nation is having good economy, you want to relocate there. If you don't have a career or a skill set needed in that economy, you might just find yourself in soup. So it's good to always know what skill do you have. The skill you have, is it in demand in the nation where you want to move into or relocate to? Or the question is, would the skill you have in your current nation be relevant in any other nation else? See, that's a mistake we often do. We often don't take stock and look at, will my current skill be relevant in any nation I want to move to? Some people didn't look at that, and when they have moved, it becomes a problem. And like I tell most people that moved into the UK, I say that it might be wise to reinvent, like we do on this radio, on this show, reinvent themselves, re-innovate themselves, pick up new skill, pick up new things, and do something new which is relevant in this country. That is very important. It is very, very important. So if the life expectancy is 2021 is 73.40, is quite far better than some African nations. So it means if you live up to 73 in Seychelles 0.4 before you die, that is at least it is compared to some other nations that you have 40, 54, 56, 57 or 60. So it's still far better. So if you say in another nation when you die at 60 in Seychelles, you die at 73.4. It means you have 30 more years, which is good. And like when it comes to life expectancy in any nation, life expectancy is dependent on many factors. Life expectancy is dependent on the national economy where you live or the country where you live. Life expectancy is dependent on your economic power. What kind of contribution do you make to the economy, and what kind of income do you make into the economy? So life expectancy is dependent on a good health sector in the country. So these are things that determine determinants of what you call developed nation, and also that influences your life expectancy. So don't just jump and move to another nation because you think that place is good. The question is, ask yourself, do I have the skill set needed in that nation? My current skill set, would it be relevant in the other nation which you want to move to? So these are critical things. Now, when it comes to education in Seychelles, education in Seychelles is free and compulsory from the age of 6 to 15. The language of instruction is Creole from the age of 6 to 10, and then English is introduced as a language of instruction, with French introduced as a foreign language. So you see, that again might be the reason why the literacy rate. Well, I see where you're coming from, but it is not easy. Real name is also king. It is not easy. A lot of people, at least I've met quite some people who have come to the UK. It's not easy when you don't have the skill that is needed, when you have to build the skill in the country you are moving to. It's quite challenging because you might not, the cost of living is so high, might be so high rather. The cost of living might be so high that at the time you'll be out of job. And if you're out of job, that is something, it's a problem. If you're out of job, and let me tell you, real name is king. One of the reasons why it's important for you to pick the skill before you leave your country is that in most developed countries, and I assume also in Seychelles, the cost of living is high. The cost of living is high, and the the rate at which money is spent is also high. Like I was listening to one YouTube in which he said that you can, in Seychelles, $100 you can spend $100 in 2 hours. Can you afford that? Real name is King. Can you afford that $100 that might last you maybe 3, 4, 5 days, maybe a place like Lagos in Nigeria or any other country? Imagine you in Seychelles, you don't have a job, and you have $100, and that will only last you for 2 hours. And that's the point. Say, for example, people that are in Nigeria, when they want to, in Nigeria, they want to move to the UK, they will be calculating the amount of income they will make in the UK. But they've missed something. They've missed the aspect of how is life in the UK. For example, in Nigeria, when you went to pay for accommodation, you pay for accommodation once a year. In other words, you pay a huge sum of money, maybe 350, maybe 400, maybe 500. You pay it once in a year. Then you have till next year to look for that money. But in the West, in the UK, it's not so. It's not so. So if you don't have this skill, every month you must pay the landlord, you must pay the agent, you must pay for your house rent every month. So if you don't have this skill, and you are hoping that you are going to get the skill when you get into the place, you might be in serious problem. You might be in serious problem. You might be in serious problem. So that's just an example of what I'm telling you, and that's, I hope you understand what I'm saying, that in building and learning to build those skills when you have moved to those nations, sometimes it might be too late, because there are times in which you may not have a job. And if you don't have a job, how do you pay the bills? It's what has caused a lot of people in the UK or in the West a lot of health problems, a lot of depression and health problem, because you are thinking of, how do I pay my bills? So if you don't have the skill, and I know you can also say that there are soft skills or some things you can do without highly skilled. Yes, I agree, but it's not easy to come by because you are new in the environment. Like in the UK, they might be asking you that you don't have UK experience. So how do you do? Even though you know how to do the job, they say you don't have UK experience. They're not employing you. So how would you survive? So Real Name is King is saying it's not high on all countries. I agree. Nations like Bali are ranging like current rates in South Africa. You when you say Bali, do you mean in Indonesia? Or are you from South Africa, or you are from Bali? Including the rent, maybe the payment structures, cultures, and the way they live are codes. Well, I get the point I get the point you're making, but my advice is think well before you you leap. Do ensure that you've done something well. Think well before you plan. So back to what we're looking at today. We are looking at Seychelles. The country Seychelles is our focus, and we have looked at the resources they have. The resources that they have in Seychelles are predominantly they have tourism and export of, I think they have some liquor. They have maritime services also. They also trade. They export canned tuna, frozen fish, frozen prawns, cinnamon bark. Their major partners that they trade with is France, Italy, UK, Singapore, South Africa, Spain, Saudi Arabia, and others. In the agriculture, they, like I mentioned earlier, they do copra, cinnamon, vanilla, coconut, sweet potatoes, tapioca, banana, tuna, and chicken. So that's some of the things that the country. So if, like we mentioned earlier, if the person, okay, your real name is King, you're from South Africa. Okay, you're talking about Bali, Indonesia, yeah. And don't forget, in Bali, in Indonesia, you also must be able to understand Bahasa Melayu, which is the lingua franca. You must be able to understand that. So if you don't understand language, language can also be a barrier. Thank you very much for that. Real name is King. Send me a DM. Let's continue this conversation after now. Let's have chat and see what do you do in South Africa. What skill do you have, and what do you do in South Africa? We are looking forward to empower young people in South Africa. I already mentioned, I already mentor some young people in South Africa, but want to do more. We want to be able to mentor more young people in South Africa. So send me a DM of your mobile number and email address. Let's continue this conversation and see how we can work together to mentor young people on the continent of Africa. Like I mentioned at the introduction, every person who is living on earth needs to find their purpose, need to find and know the reason why they are born, need to know the reason why they are born, and they need to know the problem they are born to solve. So, and it is the responsibility of young people in Africa to solve the problem of Africa. So if you don't know the problem you were born to solve, how will you be able to solve that problem? And that's why we exist. That is why the Africa Coaching and Mentorship Initiative exists, to help young people on the continent of Africa discover their purpose, discover the problem they are born to solve, and begin to solve it, so that we can be able to have development on the continent of Africa. Yeah, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate your interventions and your contribution. It's highly appreciated. So the literacy rate in Seychelles, according to the World Bank, is 96.2%, and that's why I mentioned earlier this should be one of the highest. I think it was Cape Verde, if I remember, that had very high literacy rate also. So perhaps because the nation official language is English, is French, and the Seychelles words Creole, maybe that is why the literacy rate is so high in the country. But there's a problem apart from literacy rate, and that is one of the things which I'm passionate about, the issue of the problem of heroin. Majority of the population in Seychelles are hooked on heroin. They are hooked on heroin, and that is a destroyer. It will destroy the life of the young people. It destroys the lives of the young people, and it seems to be like a common decimal. When you have a part of a city or a town or a country that has access to the sea, in which there is no control, there seems to be influx and flowing of hard drugs, and now most young people, most adults in the country, like what I watch on YouTube, are now hooked on heroin, and that's a problem, and that's a problem to be fixed. So if you are from Seychelles and you are watching this tonight, or you are watching the replay of it, reach out to me, reach out to us. Let's see how we can work together to support these people that are hooked on heroin, and see how we can give them a new lease of life. So reach out to me, send a DM, and we can see how we can work together and give these people and see what we can do because we exist to tackle all the challenges, as it were, of ignorance, and whatever we can do to support people out of whatever is bedeviling them. All right. Yeah, apologies. I was that was a missed call that coming. Let me quickly tell you. All right. So we've looked at agriculture in Seychelles, and we've looked at the health in Seychelles is also Seychelles reached, and I think I read this earlier about communicable diseases. The infant mortality rate in Seychelles was 15.52 per death per 1,000 live births in 2005. Of course, this would have improved now, so it's gone to 72.95. So there are about, in 2014, there was about one doctor for 780 people in Seychelles, and one nurse for 400 people. That actually is a very high, a very good number in compared to some other nations, African nations, where you have one doctor to 10,000 people. But also, again, you can also look at it that fact that the population is about 120,000. So the population is not large enough, or not too large, and so one doctor to 780 people is still a good one. In 2019, there was one hospital and 17 health centers in Seychelles, which for the population that is still something that could be. So welcome to the Mentors Show. So we are looking at Seychelles today, and we are looking at the opportunities. Like I said, when we come with all these nations we are looking at, don't focus on the negatives. Focus on the opportunities. See, it is said that in the Chinese language, there's nothing like a problem. It is called opportunity. So all the challenges that are available in Seychelles or any country where you come from, they are what you are supposed to solve. Those are opportunities. So if it is education, there are opportunities for you to solve it. If it is health, there are opportunities for you to solve the problem. If it is, like I mentioned earlier, in Seychelles, the problem of heroin, addiction among people, it is you that should solve it. If it is, whatever it is, teenage pregnancy, whatever problem it is in any country where you are, it is your responsibility to solve that problem. It is your responsibility to solve that problem. And so, have you discovered the reason why you were born? Have you discovered the problem you were born to solve? You need to discover the problem you were born to solve so that you begin to solve the problem. So you could begin to solve the problem. It's very important. It's very important. Beginning to solve the problem you were born to solve and begin to live. So we could see that Seychelles is a good example because of Small population, but there's still a lot of challenges here and there, isn't it? A lot of challenges here and there. So please, it's important that you discover the problem you were born to solve. If you think that you need to talk together, send me a DM so that we can be able to, work with you, that can help you to discover. Okay, real name is also King is asking again. You're asking, how do you know that you've discovered the problem you are born to solve besides doing what you love? That's a good question. You see, it's important that your hands are not idle. It's important that your hands are not idle. So even if you think you've not discovered the problem you were born to solve, it's important for you to continue to do that thing you love. If it is what you love, the question is, what you love, is it helping other people? What you love, is it bringing help and succor to other people? Are people being helped by what you love? What you love doing, is it only just you benefiting from what you love doing and getting satisfaction in it, or some other persons are benefiting? It is more that you are living not for yourself, but for helping other people. Does that make sense? Is you are living to help other people. So if what you love is helping other people, I think you are on the right track. But if what you love is not helping other people, it's only you that is benefiting from it, I think you might need to revisit it again and reassess to see if actually you are living and experiencing what you're supposed to achieve in life. So thank you so much, and I think that is all done for tonight. Thank you, Real Name is also King, for being with us tonight, and for the discourse, and for everyone who has been with us tonight. We really appreciate you. Please send me a DM with your number and email address. Let's continue this conversation. Real Name is King. Let's continue this conversation. And every other person who has joined us tonight, please send me a DM. Let's see how we can work together. Have you discovered the reason why you were born? Let's work together to see that you can help discover. And if you are living on the continent of Africa, it's important for you to discover why you are born and begin to, because see, you are the solution to the problem on the continent of Africa. You are the solution to the problem. Okay, reading the secret to success is actually in the Bible. Well, I agree with you. The secret is in the Bible, but there are people also who don't have the Bible, and still they are achieving something. They are doing something. They are living and making impact in other people's lives. I get where you're coming from, because I'm also a pastor, so I know what you're talking about. So that's us done for today. Thank you so much, everyone who has been with us on LinkedIn at Dr. Olushola Ajide, on YouTube at Africa Coaching and Mentorship YouTube channel. Follow me on LinkedIn. Follow us at Africa Coaching and Mentorship Initiative YouTube channel. Follow me at Facebook, Olushola Ajide. Of course, on Instagram at at Dr_Olushola_Ajide. Follow me, and so that we can be able to do more. Well, I agree with you. Real name is king. Even though they are not, even if they are achieving, they are also doing something right that's in the Bible. Correct. Absolutely correct. Correct. Absolutely correct. So we'll be able to do more. So send me a DM, everyone who has watched tonight, and let's see how we can work together, pull together, and make positive impact on the continent of Africa. Don't forget, we have looked at mapping Africa's natural resources, focusing on Seychelles today, nation number 42. Seychelles, nation number 42. I'll see you all again in the next session of the show. I'll see you all. So I'll see you all again on next week Tuesday. Next week Tuesday, we meet every Tuesday. The Mentor Show is every Tuesday. The Mentor Show is every Tuesday. So I'll see you again Tuesday next week, by God willing, at 7:15 p.m. British Standard Time. So thank you very much. Thank you for being with us again today, and bye for now. Bye for now.